So weird. We're sitting here, we're doing our underappreciated storylines. We're sort of the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
And Nate Burleson does, you know, the veterans, the 30-plus club, still getting it done. You mentioned Brandon Marshall and his incredible track record, yet to play in a playoff game, and here, boom, found a new home in his old home.
And I have to make a correction because I said consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, I believe I said. 1,000. It was actually 6 100-catch seasons. He has the NFL record.
Only one that has more than Wes Welker.
Yeah, which is crazy. But we've been talking since the season ended. For a lot of guys that I'm really close to, I don't bother them during the year because they get a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. As soon as the season ends, hey, how you doing? How's the family? What are you doing? Where are you going? Where are you vacationing? And I'm reading a tweet right here. He sent a couple weeks ago. He said, I'm vacationing at Foot Speed Gym in sunny South Florida. And he said, I'll vacation when I retire. So I think him understanding where he was in his career, he needed to go back into the gym, get back to the basics, and show teams that I'm still ready, that I still can go out there and play well. A couple years ago, he had a monster year. He had 14 TDs, over 1,400 yards. Yep. And then last year, he had some inconsistencies, but that was inconsistency at the quarterback position. So you can't really blame Marshall. And then you look at the dynamic with this team and this receiving core. I mean, they have talent. Young Sterling Shepard, Odell Beckham, who was an absolute star, and then Brandon Marshall. You know, I was talking to Dave Brown, who's one of the producers here, in my ear during the commercial break. He's saying, how do you think they'll coexist, Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham? I think it'll be great because for a lot of reasons, they're very similar. And they're at points in their career where they can, I guess, lean on each other in a sense. And if they can all be productive, which you don't need Brandon Marshall to come in and put up 1,600 yards. You just need him to catch the first down and move the chains. You have a guy like that, that's a great addition to the Giants offense.
Nobody has more yards over the last 10 years than Brandon Marshall, but like you said, he's always sort of been that #1 guy. Let's talk about the money, but let's talk about the fit also.
Yeah, I mean, I go immediately to Odell, and I have this vision of Brandon Marshall when he was with the Broncos, and he was playing with Brandon Stokely, and he scored a big touchdown in a huge game. It was very tight, and he reached to get some gloves from his belt to do some sort of celebration. Stokely runs over and physically restrains him from doing it because he knows he would have gotten flagged that it cost him the game. I wonder if Marshall could be that sort of Stokely role for Odell. You know, Odell does all kinds of stuff, super entertaining, some of it not right, some of it great. But I'm picturing Odell in the tunnel after the game, screaming or doing whatever he was doing. I'm picturing him punching the hole in the wall. I love Odell, but could he be like a big brother, like a mentor, or is it not the right influence? I don't know him personally like you do, Nate. I know that he's an interesting guy with his personality and his background, who's had his ups and downs as well. I'll ask you directly, do you think that he is the perfect mentor, not even football-wise, but psychologically in the Big Apple, in the media, for the biggest star in the Giants, Odell?
I believe so. And here's the thing. I believe if I ask him, he'll answer it by saying, I'm not here to be his big brother.
Okay.
They're not bringing me to the team to be his big brother. They're bringing me to the team to be productive. So I don't really know how that role is going to play out. And I don't think Odell is necessarily looking for a big brother. Odell's not a young guy anymore. He's now at that point in his career where he's a young vet. So I think after this last year, with all the things that was happening on and off the field, the celebrations, the net, and then the Miami, and then not showing up in the playoffs, I think Odell has needed to kind of come to his senses and say, you know what, I need to mature in so many ways. I can be as great as I want to on the field, but I'm losing myself in all the antics. And with Brandon Marshall coming in, a guy who's been there, done that. And like I said, very similar. Odell is more of a guy who loves the spotlight. So some of his antics were because of the spotlight. Brandon Marshall was dealing with a lot of anger, and he's went to a lot of therapy, and he's matured in a sense. You don't see those same outbursts on and off the field from Brandon Marshall. So I think just grown men being in the locker room together, it's a great dynamic. You have a true vet, a guy who's in the middle of his career in Odell. You got a young guy like Sterling Shepard. It's a great dynamic.
I mean, come on, people. Look at this offense. They made it to the playoffs. You're saying he's been there, done that. He's never been to the playoffs. Now you've got Sterling Shepard, who was incredible. You have Odell Beckham Jr. Now you're adding Brandon Marshall. This is a sexy offense. Eli Manning, a great veteran who leads by example. I'm excited. And let's talk about the fit. 2 years, $12 million, Traeger.
Yeah, so it's $6 million a year. If we're talking Pierre Garçon is going to make 10 to 11, and Deshaun Jackson's going to make 11 to 13. I don't know if it drops, but I don't know if he could have gotten more money somewhere else. I mean, that Brandon Marshall's Brandon Marshall. Yeah, I like Deshaun Jackson as a speed guy. I like Pierre Garçon as a reliable. Brandon Marshall had a big year 2 years ago and can still play. So I'm wondering if he took a hometown
100-yard
discount.
season,
He's
yeah.
awesome.
Because he wants to do the TV stuff. And then there's a whole conversation about that. Did he go to the Giants? Did he target the Giants saying, okay, the Jets are going to let me go, but let me stay here because inside the NFL is a great gig for me on Tuesdays. I could just sleep in the same house I've always been sleeping in the last few years, go to the studio, work with Phil and whoever else is on the show there, do that, and then be set. Because I'm looking at Alex Rodriguez in baseball. Yankees player, gets a little cup of coffee with Fox Sports the last 2 years during the World Series. He just announced he's full-time with Fox. He's going to be one of their main guys. It's a bridge after football. He's thinking big picture. So could he have made a couple more $1 million playing elsewhere?
Yeah.
Could he have gotten that money from the Rams or the 49ers? Maybe. To me, this is Brandon Marshall looking at the light at the end of the tunnel.
Smart move.
Saying, I'm going to be a New York mixed media fixture. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to take maybe less money on the open market to do it. So Brandon Marshall to the Giants, sure. I'm looking at Brandon Marshall as a player and as a person. I think he's thinking big picture. He wants to conquer this city in the media sense.
Seems like a win for everybody involved, at least initially. Look at the Giants. He gets to stay here, same stadium.